What's up, guys? And I am here to bring you Immortal Phoenix Rek'sai 1.2, which is basically just the Swarm style, the red Swarm style with Phoenix in it. That's basically it. Uh, I'll show you the deck list here. So obviously it's a Swarm style, so we're just trying to get a wide board, throw out a bunch of units, and then try to win off of that with buff spells like Blood Rush, Cleave, and Under Titan. You'll notice that I'm still running the Phoenixes over the Pike, the red Pikes, which I don't think is better. I don't necessarily think Phoenix is better than red Pike, but it does have its advantages. I did also swap out the battlefields slightly, which I'll explain in a future slide. I technically changed the rune distribution back to 6 and 6 instead of 7 Fury and 5 Order. And notably, I took out the seals. Sideboard is just generic. It could be a whole bunch of different things, but I'm just trying to cover all my bases for what I could fight in my upcoming skirmish, which is the 18th, Saturday the 18th. So why not Red Pike? One of the benefits, we'll talk about benefits and downsides of each. Red Pike is better than Phoenix in the sense that it gives you extra hidden potential. Right now, the only hidden card in this deck is Hidden Blade, which is like not really a secret. But I mean, if you can add an extra hidden card, it makes things a little tougher for your opponents to figure out. Relative to other cards within this energy cost, its kind of accelerate cost is only a red power instead of 1 energy and 1 red power. And the ganking does help with conquering the other battlefield. That said, the extra 2 might you get from playing the card with the additional cost, it goes away after the turn ends, so it just becomes like a 2 might unit for either 2 power or 3 energy and 1 power. I don't know how I feel about that per se. And also the card's just kind of expensive. They're like $15 each, and I don't have any. So yeah, I mean, Pike is a good card. Like, don't get me wrong, Pike is a great card. I just, one, don't have any, and two, I can't go over the fact that it's just a 2 might unit after the turn it's played. So, you know, maybe that's just my bias. Now, talking about Immortal Phoenix, it has an average higher might, so it has a base of might of 3, and it has assault 2, so when it attacks, it'll have 5. Whereas Pike will have 4 the turn it's played, assuming you actually play it for the additional cost. And then it's just 2 afterwards. Another benefit is that it's replayable, right? If you kill something with the spell, as you all know, Falling Star, Cold of Week, you can just bring back your Phoenix for 1 energy, 1 power. So you kind of have like, you still have some of the repeatability of Phoenix, just with the less resources devoted to trying to keep that loop alive. And of course, the downsides is that this card is very power hungry, the Phoenix is, especially because we're not running seals in this Swarm variant. I did try a variation with seals, but still try to play Swarmy. But if you draw 2 runes, two seals in the game, it actually feels pretty bad. So I ended up taking them all out after I saw a deck list from like a Pittsburgh tournament that happened in the middle of July. I can't remember the deck list or the person's name. But his deck list ran Phoenix, no seals, and was basically a Swarm variant. And I copied it and I just took out a few cards I didn't necessarily agree with. For my battlefields, let me just move over here. so you can see the text. We have Trifarian, Warcamp, Zon Warrens, and Rockfall Path. For Trifarian Warcamp, most decks don't put out as many units as we can, especially with our Vanguard captains. So I think it's a fine pick for going in blind. I know Azir runs this battlefield, and Victor decks can probably also use this quite well, arguably better than us, with all of this recruits they can make and even sprites. But that's a risk I'm willing to take. The going first battlefield for game 2 right now is Zon Warrens, and it really should be Arena's greatest if it's a best of 3. However, unfortunately, I play in a local meta that is best of 1, and I do not want to take the chance of Arena's greatest going second. That just feels really bad. And it feels like I kind of sabotaged myself if that happens, even though it's a 1 in 3 chance. It's still a decent 1 in 3 chance, I did have a game, which I don't know if I mentioned in a previous video, but I did play a Nexus Knight game. It was best of 1. My opponent was playing Lilia, and I pulled Arena's greatest. I barely won that game, but he really was setting the tone of the game the entire time until I was able to build a board and fight back his sprites. But he got to 6 points in 3 turns almost, and I definitely could have lost that game because I went second. Mostly because I went second. Yeah, so I don't want to give my opponent that benefit, that 1 in 3 benefit for playing the Arena's greatest. Now, the going second battlefield is going to be Rockfall Path. It's just a generic battlefield that may be useful against your opponents. It hurts our Inferna in the deck, but otherwise it's probably fine. Rengar and other opponents cannot play their ambush units onto Rockfall, so it makes the potential hold you may need to do, especially if you're trying to hold to 8 points. It makes it a little easier. Notably, we removed Minefield for this battlefield. I felt like the payoff of discarding your 2 cards from the top wasn't really worth it. I did mention in the previous video I was really trying to get rid of Minefield for something else because I just didn't feel like discarding 2 was as beneficial as I initially thought it was. Some cards to consider, just searching through deck lists on Rift decks for Rek'sai decks that use Phoenix. These are some of the cards that I've come across that I would consider playing, but I'm not totally convinced on. First is Mischievous Mirai. It's a hidden 2 for 2. When you play me to a battlefield, deal 2 to an enemy unit here. And it's hidden, which is the main appeal. So with the extra hidden card in your deck, your opponents might have to think as well, what could this be? And it's not a common card, or it's not really played at all. So your opponents might think it's a hidden blade until they see it. Now, the downside of this card is that it's just a vanilla 2 for 2 if you're not playing it from hidden. And as you probably have figured out, I do not like cards that are just vanilla, no text cards, for lack of a better word, unless you use them in their specific situation where you should use them. Void Drone is another example of a card that, if you use it with its benefit, it's really good, but if you don't use it for its benefit, it's whatever. So Void Drone is a 3 energy, 3 might unit. I cost 2 less when played anywhere other than your hand. So obviously with Rek'Sai's Void Burrower legend ability, and Void Rush, the signature spell. You can play this for 2 less. Actually, from Void Rush, you can play this for free because the discount is 2 less. Again, it's great when you do reveal it from Void Rush or Void Burrower, but otherwise it's just a 3 for 3 that does nothing. And I don't really like that at all. Finally, we have Grand Stratagem. It's a great Anthem effect, +5 to friendly units. Can't be defied, of course, which is nice. But it's really expensive, and if you somehow don't win off of playing Grand Stratagem, like, you are in deep trouble because you've just burned 3 runes and you're probably already barely at 6 runes to begin with. But that said, it can make your board of really weak 1 to 2 might units into suddenly like a bunch of beaters. So I could totally see Shadow's Call being replaced with this, or even cutting a Void Rush for Grand Stratagem, because Shadow's Call lets you draw 2 after giving a unit temporary, and you'll probably just give like a recruit temporary. So I'm not too sure. I might actually make the replacement Grand Stratagem over Shadow's Call. I'm just concerned about the card draw, and even though you do have Legend and Void Rush, I'm a little wary about it. But I could totally see myself playing it as a one of over Shadow's Call. The sideboard, this is a very generic sideboard. Let me get out of my way. Very generic sideboard. Actually, I don't think this is updated. I think this is an old image. But basically, the sideboard is going to have more damage-based removal for wider decks like Azir, Sprites, maybe Diana too. Basically anything that plays early units and like a solid curve of units. Then we want to play those burn spells. We'll remove Cold a Week since the 1-for-1 trade is usually not worth it. Against Victor as well, actually, you probably want to run these burn spells, cut Cold a Weeks, because they'll just always have recruits. Against taller decks like Aurelia, you probably want to add in the Vengeance and Dragonders because you want the hard removal. And the burn spells won't really be able to get over it unless you want to 2-for-1 yourself, which is usually not a good idea. And against big gear decks like Aurora, and maybe in the future if they print some big dumb gear, or actually like what's that blue Vendetta 10 energy 2 blue power gear? I think it's called Constellation. Maybe if they run Vanguard Armory, you can use salvage. That, you know, those would be the times you want to bring salvage in. Now, I do want to mention, I don't think salvage is good against Azir unless you're getting rid of BF Sword, maybe Brutalizer. Yeah, those two, BF Sword and Brutalizer. Brutalizer because it could potentially be +3 if they just equip it that turn, and BF Sword because it is always 3. But besides those 2 gears, like, salvage is not that great. You don't really want to salvage there. Oh, I guess Guardian Angel too. Guardian Angel's not the worst target for salvage. But you're not really going to salvage their Eye of the Herald or their Soul Sword or Doran's Shield, because you're spending an extra 1 energy and 1 power to kill it and draw a card, which the rate sounds fine, but tempo-wise, it's a little too slow. So I think Void Seeker, and assuming you don't already have 3 Falling Stars in your deck, I think those would just be better off. And that's really it. That's all I have for this Phoenix list. Again, this is the deck list. Shadow's Call could be Grand Stratagem instead. I could totally see myself making that replacement. Oh yeah, so you can see the proper sideboard, because I initially made this video in a version that was running the seals, but I quickly found out the seals are hot garbage if you draw more than two of them, or more than one of them, two or more. So salary board is 3 salvage, 2 void seeker, 2 vengeance, 1 drag under. I could totally see it being 2 drag unders and 1 vengeance. I don't have a second drag under actually. I could borrow one, but whatever. Yeah, so this is the deck list. Hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see how the skirmish goes. We'll see how not Unleashed, Vendetta. We'll see how Vendetta spoilers come out, and who knows? Maybe I'll still play Phoenix Rek'sai with the new tools from Vendetta, but right now Akali is looking really fun to play. I don't know about strong. I think it'll be strong, but not like top tier. Cannon looks really fun. Renekton is interesting. Jace is interesting, but I'm not as excited for those two. And then I guess Mbessa is also kind of interesting, but I'm less interested in them compared to Renekton and Jace. Shen and Nasus do not interest me at all, unfortunately. But we'll see how it goes when they spoil the entire set. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you maybe around when Unleashed spoilers are done.